What if everything we thought we knew about treating PTSD is about to change? While traditional treatments focus on managing symptoms, a surprising player has entered the scene: ketamine. Once known for its use in anesthesia and even as a party drug, ketamine is now showing promise in rewiring the PTSD brain at a neurological level. But does the science back it up? And could this be the breakthrough millions have been waiting for? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Ian Ruberry, CEO of Field Trip Health. We specialize in innovative mental health treatments, including ketamine therapy, to help people struggling with PTSD, depression, and anxiety to find deep healing and lasting relief. Today, we're diving into something that's been making waves in the mental health world: ketamine therapy for PTSD. PTSD affects millions of people around the world, and here in Canada, it's more common than you might think. About 1 in 10 people will experience it at some point in their lives. PTSD is usually linked to soldiers, but anyone can get it after a traumatic event. PTSD symptoms can be really tough to live with. They include intrusive thoughts, which can manifest as flashbacks, nightmares, or scary memories that feel real. Feeling jumpy, irritable, or always on edge. Emotional numbness, feeling detached, avoiding people or places. But PTSD isn't just about emotions. It actually changes how the brain works. There are two big differences between brains with PTSD and those without it. The first big change: brain structure. PTSD affects three major brain areas: the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala is the brain's emotional response and fear center. In PTSD, it is overactivated, making people feel unsafe all the time. The hippocampus is involved with making and storing memories. In patients with PTSD, the hippocampus shrinks, which is why people have trouble knowing if past trauma is really over or still happening. Finally, the prefrontal cortex is our rational self. This part of the brain helps with higher cognition, decision-making, and impulse control. Part of that is keeping the amygdala in check. In PTSD, this amygdala override doesn't work as well as it should, so the amygdala has trouble relaxing, leaving patients in a heightened state of emotional vigilance. The second big change: chemical imbalances. PTSD throws off the balance of three important brain chemicals. First, cortisol, your body's main stress hormone. Normally, it helps you respond to danger, but with PTSD, it stays too high or too low, keeping the brain stuck in danger mode, even when there's no real threat. Next, dopamine, the feel-good chemical that boosts motivation and happiness. PTSD can lower dopamine levels, making it harder to feel joy or motivation. And finally, glutamate, the brain's learning and memory messenger. When it's out of balance, it can lead to intrusive thoughts and constant stress. These chemical changes help explain why PTSD feels so overwhelming. But the good news is, they can be balanced again with the right treatment. Most PTSD treatments focus on managing symptoms rather than addressing the root cause. For example, antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications try to balance dopamine in the brain. Lifestyle changes like meditation, exercise, and good sleep can help reduce cortisol, the stress hormone. And traditional therapies like CBT or exposure therapy can help process painful memories in safe, controlled settings, but can themselves be traumatic for some people. These solutions don't work for everyone. Many PTSD patients don't respond to medication, and therapy can take a long time and feel overwhelming. What if there was a way to actually rewire the PTSD brain instead of just treating the symptom? That's where ketamine comes in. Unlike regular PTSD medication, which focuses on serotonin or dopamine, ketamine works on glutamate, one of the brain's key chemicals for learning, memory, and adaptability. Here's how it helps PTSD. First, it helps break the cycle of negative thought loops. In PTSD, the brain gets stuck in fear mode, constantly replaying distressing memories. Ketamine disrupts that cycle by changing how the brain processes fear and emotions. Second, it helps the brain grow new connections. Ketamine boosts synaptic plasticity, meaning the brain can actually heal and create new, healthier connections. Third, it calms the fight-or-flight response. In PTSD, the brain's alarm system is always on high alert. Ketamine helps dial it down, making it easier for people to feel safe and at ease. In other words, ketamine doesn't just cover up PTSD symptoms, it changes the brain's wiring, and we've got the clinical research to prove it. A 2021 study found that 70% of PTSD patients felt better after just one ketamine session. Another study showed that low-dose ketamine reduced PTSD symptoms by 50% in just 72 hours, way faster than traditional meds. Even the US Department of Veterans Affairs now offers ketamine therapy for veterans with severe PTSD. Let's talk about treatment protocols. Most treatment protocols usually consist of 6 to 9 sessions over a period of 3 to 5 weeks, after which you don't need to rely on daily medications long term. Each session lasts between 45 and 60 minutes and is followed by an integration session with a therapist to help you process what you just experienced and develop strategies to incorporate it into daily life. If you want more detail about the criteria someone needs to meet to get approved, I've got another video that goes deeper into all of that. The sessions themselves are conducted in calm, comfortable atmospheres with medical supervision. At Field Trip Health, we offer you eye shades, noise-canceling headphones, and weighted blankets to help you feel safe and cozy. The ketamine itself can be taken many ways. IV infusions, intramuscular injection, nasal spray, or lozenges you put under your tongue. Unlike recreational use, therapeutic ketamine is administered in controlled settings with precise dosing to maximize benefits and minimize side effects. The most common side effects are nausea and dizziness, which can be avoided by taking anti-nausea medication beforehand. Let me tell you some real stories from our patients. When he came to us, Mark was nervous about going into treatments. An hour later, he emerged from the session room feeling incredibly relaxed, calm, and at peace.
My time in the emergency services had really taken its toll. With the psychedelic-assisted therapy, I was once again able to feel and to feel hope and to feel connected to people.
The treatment experience varies from person to person, but on a whole, many patients report experiencing enhanced introspection, a shift in thought pattern, and emotional breakthroughs. Another patient of ours, Allie, shared with me after her treatment session that she was able to come to some pretty big realizations about her life and past trauma. She said,
"As the sessions went on, things became even more intense, but for the first time, I was able to truly connect with my own mental health and well-being. Yes, there were tears and big emotions, but I was finally facing my true self."
Since ketamine therapy addresses emotional regulation patterns, it might also help patients change how they relate to their PTSD. Some even express leaving the clinic feeling like they were born with a new brain. So based on what we know about PTSD and brain chemistry, ketamine therapy is one of the most promising treatments out there. Of course, we need more research to understand how well it works long term, but for people who have tried everything else without success, this could be the breakthrough they've been waiting for. Unfortunately, ketamine isn't right for everyone. Want to know if it could work for you? Click here to learn about the 4 reasons you might not be a good candidate for ketamine therapy.